Welcome on into the Fantasy Football Forge. My name is Steve, and it is time for the Week 9 Waiver Wire Report. Going to keep this relatively quick. I'm hoping to be able to go live Tuesday night. I'd prefer to do these lives. It's just that Tuesdays are crazy with getting all of my projections up to date and data entry, etc. So we'll see about that, but that's the hope. If I'm live, come visit me. But either way, you can ask questions down in the comments, specific questions. I am trying to keep these videos a little more concise and quick so that you can just kind of get a quick opinion on some of the waiver wire options. And like I said, if you have further questioning, down in the comments is where to be, and hopefully live would also be where to be. So, little heads up here. Players who are less than 50% owned must be. That's the requirement in order to make it onto my waiver wire list. Currently, you can see a bunch of follow-up injuries from weeks past. There might be a player or two missing. I apologize if that is the case. And in just a little bit, we will look at the new injuries from this week. It is Monday right now. Monday Night Football has not happened yet as of recording this video, so any significant additions or changes due to Monday Night Football should be captured down in the comments section. And also, this chart here will get updated on Tuesday if there's anything else major or if I made a mistake, which I would comment in the comments as well. And I feel like that needs to be updated in terms of my waiver opinions. Maybe I forgot about a player and what I would think of them. So sometimes that can happen, and you can always find this if you want to look at it closer. The sheet that we're going to be going through on the screen, it is available up on the website, www.theFFforge.com. There should be a link down in the description to it. And of course, even if I do not go live tomorrow for future questions about start-sit questions, about trade questions, about whoever else you might want to get off of the waiver wire, out of free agency, you can come visit me live on Thursdays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, prior to kickoff for the game. On Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And once again, this Saturday, we'll do another $10 Amazon gift card giveaway. Somebody walked away with $10 last week. Congratulations, Michael's on that. He did receive, I saw via email, the gift card. So that was fun. We'll do it again, and then I think we'll hold off doing it until a celebration gift card giveaway after we go over 1,000 subscribers. But we're on the climb up to 1,000, so that's great. Having a lot of fun with it, and we'll continue to make that push and then go on even further. With that being said, hopefully you've had a chance to look at the injury list. Let's get caught up on some of the new injuries. So here they are, although there are a couple of major injuries right at the top here. Not the longest list ever, and we got several back, and we're going to be getting a few back. So I think we're on the upswing here of injuries, and maybe we can equalize out to something kind of more normal. It's been a pretty rough year for injuries so far. I can tell you I've felt it very, very heavily on both of my two teams. So that's been great fun. In terms of new injuries here, Christian Kirk is unfortunately going to be out for the rest of the season. Impact on the team and everything. I mean, it's not great. Evan Ingram should be more consistent. It's unfortunate. It sucks to have this kind of thing happen, but, that's what I would say. Brian Thomas Jr., he's good enough that I assume that this is probably maybe slightly better than not for him, but I do generally like having, just generally good offenses for these guys to produce within. I think it helps them to be a little bit more consistent, helps them to get more touchdowns, etc. Stephon Diggs, unfortunately, I haven't seen any kind of update as of midday here on Monday yet. He had a knee injury. Things aren't looking good. I'm trying to check right now to see if there was an update. We've just got the T. Higgins update, and Dave Canales talking about not knowing who the quarterback's going to be. So basically, if Andy Dalton's healthy, he'll be the quarterback. If not, he won't be. But yeah, we'll see on Stephon Diggs. It was a no contact injury from what I heard. I didn't see it, and so that's like I said, usually not good. Drake May concussion, usually going to be a week. T. Higgins quad injury, could be back this week. It could be longer depending on how severe it is exactly. Jordan Mason gets a shoulder injury, absolutely sucks, and so that might be the end of it. San Francisco's got a bye week this coming week, and then we're expecting Christian McCaffrey to be back week 10. So that could be it. I'm not saying to drop Jordan Mason right now, but he is droppable if something shows up that's very valuable on the waiver wire and you need a spot for them. Jordan Love, strained groin injury, so nothing too severe long term. I don't know if it's day-to-day or week-to-week until we hear for sure. I'm going day-to-day. I think there's some hope that he could play this upcoming week against Detroit. Deebo Samuel, rib injury. I really don't have a clue at this point in time if that's going to be something that's going to cost him any time or not. And Brian Thomas Jr., good news on him. Bruised chest, just expected to be day-to-day. They are thinking that they're optimistic, I would say, that there is a chance that he will be playing this coming week. Another guy who I have who got injured that I would like to have back immediately. Let's move on to the waiver wire options this week at quarterback. First of all, there's quite a bit of redundancy, I guess we'll call it, at the quarterback position for single quarterback leagues. So I wouldn't necessarily make these guys priorities in most leagues. If you go out there and you look at it, there's probably going to be about 6-7 guys on your waiver wire who are pretty decent and probably won't all get sucked up. So I'm not spending a lot of money on any of these guys. There's a lot of options. You have to enter a bid for them. Just put several little bids on them. This is the order I came up with because at this point, given how much is out there, if I'm in a situation where I'm streaming quarterbacks, I'm happy to stream them and play this on a week in and week out basis. Some of these guys do have better long-term value. I've no problem looking into the long-term value. We've done that for the past few weeks, so maybe you have some of those guys. But maybe you're also looking for somebody on a week where it's not such a great matchup for your starter. Well, Sam Darnold's going to be going up against Indianapolis. Given how consistently well he has played, I did put him at the top of this list, but there is some spike potential here for Bo Nix, who's been playing really excellent. Out of the two, I do trust Sam Darnold a little bit more than Bo Nix. I think he's got better weapons. I don't know about being in a better offensive system. It's a different offensive system. But both of them, have been good on the season. Bo Nix, especially as of late, has been really good. And he's got a really good matchup against Baltimore. It just comes down to trust. So otherwise, Bo Nix could be at the top of this list, given how well he has played recently, which has been better than even Sam Darnold. Matt Stafford has all of his weapons back. What do we expect except for what we got? He's a much better option going forward. He is limited by the fact that he is not going to give you any kind of rushing yards whatsoever. He's not going to barrel into the end zone for a 6-point touchdown instead of a 4-point touchdown for leagues that makes a difference in. He doesn't bring you those types of things, but nonetheless, it's a good offense with a really good weapons, and it's a defense that's not going to stop too many people and cause that offense to have to continue to sling it. And Derek Carr is potentially, actually, it looks like he's optimistic to be coming back this week based on a report here early on Monday. And so going up against Carolina, that's a really, really good matchup for him to be coming back to, and something that I think you could. Once again, he's towards the bottom of this list, but because of that matchup, he'll probably be ranked above a couple of other guys who maybe might be better long-term options. But once again, we're just looking at that on a week-in and week-out basis. Let's look at, the running backs. You got a little sneak peek at the wide receivers there. Running backs, it's real simple. Outside of Tyrone Tracy, and we'll see what happens tonight. Maybe he won't even make this list after tonight if Devin Singletary's back to being the number one running back, or if he gets injured or something. But just under 50% owned, so he made it. Yet not enough people have picked him up. I don't know what you're doing. You should probably have Tyrone Tracy. He should be on rosters in all leagues. He is not yet. So if he's available in your league, go make a spot for him, get him on your roster. And other than that, if you've got open spots, you want guys like Blake Corum, Isaac Rendo before this. You want backups on preferably good teams, and preferably the guys who we highly suspect will get, the higher the bulk workload of share of that backfield. If there's an injury to the starter, the better for them. So, Kamani Vidal, looking like it would be a lot his job. Gus Edwards is going to be coming back, though, so that could muddy things. And I do assume it would be... I don't think Kamani would take over as a workhorse if there were to be an injury to J.K. Dobbins. It would be a split between him and Gus to some level. So those are just the things to think about once again, too. If you do have a question between a couple of running backs, feel free to run them by me, and I'll give you, my opinion on the scenario surrounding those two running backs and why one might be a better option than the other, or why it's a horse apiece. That's going to bring us on to the wide receivers. We do have 5 wide receivers this week. There's some decent options out there that have popped up as of late. Cedric Tillman, I know I was feeling him this week. I was surprised to see I had not included him on this list. I assume I had given him an honorable mention at least last week. I don't know. I did rank him quite well. I might not have last Monday, I might not have realized how many targets he had in that game at that point. That's also possible. But, I got to suggest a few teams use him this week in fantasy football, and so to you guys, I hope that is the reason that you won this week. I was willing to take a chance on him. I had him ranked fairly well, and it did work out. Doesn't always work out, so we'll be happy when it does. Juju Smith-Schuster I have as my second option here. He is coming back from an injury, but it was promising in terms of what he's going to be coming back to. DeAndre Hopkins really wasn't utilized in that Rashee Rice role like I thought he would be here. They did have him, they only brought him down into the slot twice. I don't know what percentage of the work that was for him. I know he was a limited participant in terms of how much he got on the field, but regardless, it seems that the Juju Rashee Rice role is still going to be Juju's when he comes back, and having a DeAndre Hopkins out on the outside, it should only make life easier for Juju. So that was great. And in the meantime, next week, if we're still without any Juju, which we're probably going to be without him for another week, get your Travis Kelce's lined up again, because, that's his job until there's a receiver that can do it just as well. Just because he's aging, they don't want to overutilize him throughout the season. Ricky Pearsall, a wild card, came through, had quite a few targets. Juwan Jennings coming back. When he comes back, I don't know how much that helps or hurts him. Deebo Samuel right now does have a bit of an injury. So this is somebody who I want on my bench, possibly, hopefully, to see what comes of it. I thought that was a solid first week. He got a solid amount of work, something that you could build off of. He could be somebody who could help you down the stretch for sure in leagues. Josh Downs, I do have him behind Ricky Pearsall despite being a really good week. It's still, very few opportunities. He came down with those opportunities, and when he does, it's going to be big games, but I just think he's a little bit more inconsistent with Anthony Richardson at quarterback, and I don't know how much I trust that right now. I love Josh Downs. I love the talent. Happy to have him on my roster. I don't know how much I trust putting him in my starting lineup, though, to take advantage of getting that game last week. But if you trust it, hopefully it works out for you. And then Demarcus Robinson's another guy who I liked in the offseason as a back-of-the-bench kind of guy in case of emergency. Put him out there, and there's a decent chance that he could have a big week. He did this last week. He might not this next coming week, but he's a good back-of-the-bench emergency option kind of guy, always available for you out there. Not too widely owned, but believe it or not, it's a better situation when that team's healthy for Demarcus Robinson. He's just not a wide receiver one. That's all it is. It's that simple. That's going to bring us on to the tight ends, and not much has really changed here, but Taysom Hill did get healthy again. So once again, you Taysom Hill people, go right ahead, take a chance on him. We all know the ceiling for Taysom Hill is really, really good. It's not one that a lot of tight ends have. I don't know how common, it is for him to hit that ceiling or not this year in this offense. A little bit tough to tell, but it feels like he could be a little bit more consistent if he could just stay healthy than he was even in previous years in those other offenses. It feels like that potential's there. I've liked his usage when he's been getting used. And then Noah Fant going up against Los Angeles Rams is going to be a good option if you're in need of a tight end this week. Maybe you got George Kittle on bye, for instance. It's a really, really good matchup, so I would give Noah Fant a shot this week. And then DST options, there's not a whole lot of consensus on ownership of DSTs. DSTs have not... It's been rough out there, frankly. It hasn't been like the prettiest, easiest to predict and figure out year for these defenses. So this week, I don't love my list. There's a couple of other teams. There's some decent amount of options out there. I don't know which ones will end up paying off for sure. But I do know that if the Chicago Bears are available in your league, and they very well might be, I would be happy to pick them up. And especially this week against Arizona, nothing too scary there. But they're one of the best defenses in the league. So, they should be rostered. They should not be as available as they are. Cincinnati Bengals, their defense in real football has improved, has been looking a little bit better, gelling a little bit better week in and week out, really, for, I'd say, the past 3 weeks. Going against Las Vegas, that's one of, if not the best matchup for DSTs so far in fantasy football this year. So we'll try and take advantage of that if possible. And Houston Texans is similar to the Chicago Bears. It's just this is a DST that should probably be owned. And although I don't know that how bankable this is going into the future, because there's been a lot of reasons for this, but so far the New York Jets have been a pretty decent matchup for DSTs, and once again, Houston's defense I do like quite a bit, and I think in a week in and week out basis they have a good shot of helping you, so they're a team that I'd be happy to have on my roster and maybe working them out with another defense as often as possible. I think there's been I know in my leagues, there's been a lot of shuffling of defenses every single week. It's just been nuts. So there we go. Take care. Good luck with your waiver wire. Ask some questions down below, and I'll try to be available to answer them. Peace out.